Micron is on the move after its earnings release. That was on Wednesday, December 17th. So I'm going to look at Micron as well as a few other stocks in the semiconductor space. So I'm using this list at stockanalysis.com. I'm going to look at least the top 5 stocks, if not more. So we're going to look at price action, market timing, and momentum because I'm HEMA ready and that's what I do. All right, so here's the chart of Micron, ticker MU, on a daily time frame. Now, this is a stock that was actually asked about yesterday in our advanced monthly group coaching session. So the annotations you see here are left over. So obviously the earnings had not released, so the chart I was analyzing looked like this, okay? It only had this information. And all I pointed to was the support that I saw holding the bullish structure and short-term resistance. Now, the short-term resistance got blown out, okay? In the overnight trading in response to the earnings, the market was trading higher and then actually stayed higher at the open. So what does this look like when you are actually acting or trying to manage a position after trading? So I have these 2 sentences here that are general guidelines to how stocks can move. They are not, in my opinion, a solid trading strategy, but they can be useful. So if good news is expected for earnings, then what usually happens is that the buying happens on the rumor, meaning the time before the earnings release. So instead of trading lower, okay, Micron would have been trading higher, then the news comes out and then you sell and take profit. That did not happen here. So it didn't behave per that little old adage. The opposite is true as well. If bad news is expected, then sell the rumor, buy the news, right? You flip and reverse it. And this is a great example of why these are guidelines, but any sort of trading around earnings based on the news being good or bad can be very challenging to pinpoint. So we have that as a reference if we see the action actually unfolding that way. But in this case, the earnings were expected to be good, I believe, but the stock was trading lower. So it wasn't following that typical MO. All right, with that being said, what do we do now? Well, first of all, if a resistance is violated, you got to remove it from your chart, right? So we take off these blue lines. That support is still being held. And while this market is beneath this most recent price high, so I have 3 different types of ways that I look at market action. And this is like basic foundational Gann structure. If you happen to be seeing this video the day I put it out, I'm actually doing a workshop on this. So check the links below and check our calendar. It's today, so you'll want to be there soon. If you're seeing this video after the fact, you can still understand what I'm saying here by following the general approach. But basically, there are 3 ways that the market makes a high or low. And right now, this is what I call a price high. And it's 264.75, but we have not moved above it. So here's the thing. While that high stays intact, the most important low is still back here from November 21st. If these shares push higher above the December 9th high, then the new important low to monitor for support becomes the pre-gap low, right? It would become this December 17th range. So you have to look at the market as like stair steps, right? You can't rely on the support of the last step until you get to the new level. So breaking to new highs allows you to see the new support and so on and so forth. I am not saying you put trades on here. I would not buy just because it gets above 264.75. I just think that would be a sign that the uptrend is still healthy and you could enter in a pullback. Where it is right now, let's go intraday. Okay, and I'm doing this one intraday because it just released earnings within the past 24 hours. Look at how close it came to that resistance on an intraday basis. It came actually very close to the midpoint of the hourly bar. So the 4 p.m. Eastern bar on December 10th, backed off, and it's in a decision mode. So if it continues below 245.52, now this is an intraday support, then we might see a deeper pullback and a little bit more of a kind of sideways digesting of the earnings before this stock continues higher, hopefully. All right, so now I'm gonna go to some other semiconductors. We're gonna stay on the daily time frame first. So let's look at Nvidia, the big boy, right? And Nvidia has just been still consolidating over the low from September 5th. Nothing big to say there. It's consolidating beneath this, what I call nano large red candle. Okay, that's from my Gann candlesticks framework. And look how beautifully held the middle of that before backing off. So if you are an Nvidia trader for the big picture, swings positions, the levels you're watching are September 5th low and November 21st high. Until it does something one way or the other with those levels, it's kind of just taking its holiday break, it looks like. All right, let's look at AVGO, Broadcom. Now here, it tested a recent support, November 14th low. It has not yet posted a daily closing break beneath that level. So this is important when it comes to support and resistance, guys. When you see a break of support, that just doesn't mean the floor is falling and everything kind of plummet lower. You have to see follow through. And the simplest way to see follow through that my dad taught me was whatever time frame you're on, you want to see one session close beyond that level. So in the case of support, you want to see a session close beneath. So we got yesterday's, but I want to see if today actually follows through. So the support was violated, but are we going to continue lower? Is this going to stay an inside bar? Okay. If neither of these had closed beneath that level, then it would be more of a sign that bulls are pushing back. So right now, it's suggesting there's more weakness ahead. If we go intraday, we can see that we now have a resistance level here at 347.66. That's the one to watch. The trend is down on AVGO while that's intact. All right, let's look at TSM. This is also a bit sideways, respecting that November 21st low. That was an important support on several of these semiconductor larger cap stocks. Here's a really cool thing. So those of you who use my RSI power zones, look at how we've returned to the bull support power zone and are popping back higher. That's a good sign. So ideally what I'd like to see is that this stock kind of regroups and is able to stay above this 282 area, then forms an intraday low, and then we might be journeying back up towards the recent high from December 10th. So the December 10th highs, November 21st lows across many of these charts are going to be significant. When we look at this intraday, it's not looking great for that to unfold because on the intraday, it is back at or close to this resistance from 289.21. That's the price level. And right now we're seeing a bearish pattern between momentum and price. Those of you who have the 4 zones RSI coverage system, you know what I'm talking about. If there's a continued weakness below 283.40, okay, so again, I'm giving you intraday levels, going in a little deeper today, I would watch out for further weakness. Let's round that out with AMD. Okay, AMD, November 25th is a significant low, test the November 21st. December 9th is a significant high instead of the December 10th. But can you see how there's that rhythm? So if you're trading stocks that are in a similar industry, you will often see that, okay, that they have similar turning points. Now, this is still support, but the trend is down. So this is not as significant to me as the resistance. So that's another thing about your support and resistance. If you're analyzing a downtrend, in this case, it's a downtrend because we have this high, low, lower high, new low, lower high, right? The whole thing is being shaped by this December 2nd high, which was reapproached December 8th. While that's in place, your resistance levels are more the ones to rely on. Supports are kind of expected to be broken, right? There's no guarantee, but if I had to bet, all right, I would bet that this support at November 25th low would be broken as opposed to the resumption above the December 2nd high first. We could come and retest this low and then resume higher. But right now I don't have any other clue in momentum or anything else to suggest that AMD is going to find a footing just yet. So that's my look at the top 5 semiconductor stocks in this stocks analysis list. If you found useful information here on support and resistance or any analysis takeaways on these stocks, go ahead and let me know by punching that like button, and I'll catch you in the next video. And if you're watching this on the day of my workshop, that's happening this afternoon.